12 o'clock. Got Tim Harridge here. If this is your first webinar coaching call, you need to begin typing your questions. For those of you that are just now getting on, you need to, there will be a webinar password every week. So you're going to have to be able to check your email on Friday morning to get the webinar password. If it is that difficult for you to check your email, get a smartphone. George, are you on?
I'm here, Tim. Thanks for inviting me.
Oh, me. Everybody, George is being a bit combative with me today, so if we have to get into it over the phone, we'll turn our webcams on and yell at each other.
Exactly. How many people do we have on so far? I'm just making sure. Did anybody get the password?
We got 20 that have logged on.
Okay.
So at least 10% of our students, make that 11%, have read their email where it says the password is Apple. I sent it twice. So it should be working itself out.
Yeah.
So regardless, I don't want to sound rude, so I'll be polite today.
I hear you.
So I hope everyone's doing well. Sorry I missed 2 weeks ago. I was at SeaWorld. Gosh, that was 2 weeks ago.
Exactly.
And then I was in San Antonio again last week. What, George? We're going back to San Antonio the 21st.
Yep.
So
fun times with the Riverwalk.
In contract flipping land. So, you want to just dive into questions? You got any announcements or anything, George? Roddy Roundup that's a month away.
It is August 9th. So anybody that's up in this neck of the woods in Dallas, August 9th, you can come. It's a free event, and sometimes Tim will grace us with his presence, but he's pretty busy these days, so anyway.
See, look, man, I mean, you are taking some shots across the bow today. All right, so let's see. I have an announcement. As a Flip That Contract student, you're going to begin to see a lot about investor direct mail. And I've said it multiple times, but I'll say it again. You do not have to worry about it. In your subscription to Flip That Contract, your paid subscription, you get access to whatever version of investor direct mail we roll out. So a lot of you are on 6-month memberships. The most recent members are now paying monthly. If you're not paying monthly and you weren't part of the original class of July of last year, it's our 1-year anniversary here.
I know.
I should take you to dinner.
We should go Dutch, right? I'll pay for yours, you pay for mine.
Or we can let a couple of the guys that have actually made a lot of money off of us take us.
Yeah, I haven't seen a lot of those emails.
Yeah, right. Nobody has said, "Hey, wow, it's been a year, changing my life. Can I take you to dinner?"
They forget it. How soon they forget.
So, if you weren't part of that original class and you came in October or March or February or January, you will begin to get emails informing you that you will begin being charged monthly effective September 1st. So you still got 2 months to download all the content if you don't want to pay the $29 a month. But that's our new format, and everyone will be transitioned to that except for the original students that have been with us for a year now. So that's all the announcements I have. You ready to start diving into these questions? I've been stalling, thinking that more people would ask questions, but apparently they got it licked.
Okay, so this might be a short webinar. Yeah, and the way it works, maybe we should go over it. Like on my screen, Tim, there's a place where you can say chat, type message here. Is that where they should put it in, or
No,
is there
there's one that says questions.
Oh, okay.
And they should type it into where it says questions.
Okay. So type in your questions where it says questions, and Tim and I will be here to answer as well as we can, to shed some light and to answer those questions. And when the questions stop, then our webinar stops. Is that still the rule, Tim?
That is accurate, yes.
Okay. All right.
So, ladies and gentlemen, we will begin. Sonia asks, Tim, why do you only do probate leads for your motivated seller lead list? So, well, Sonia, that's not really all I do. I use a combination of probate, a combination of what I call dig leads, which is where I get out and drive for dollars and look for vacant, abandoned houses or code violated houses that have been posted with a code violation. And then I just do my standard zip code mailers where I'm looking for people that have owned a house for 15 years or more in my target backyard. Can you give us a brief recap of the direct mail portal? Not quite sure what you mean by that, Sonia. If you mean a recap as in what the changes are, we're not ready to do that yet because they're not done. They should be done early next week, hopefully. What all is included in the price? Again, Sonia, as a Flip That Contract student, you're grandfathered. You always get access to the latest, greatest investor direct mail without an additional charge. What all do you use RealList for on MLS? I use it for tax rolls, and that's it now. What types of lists do you compile? I don't understand that question, so please clarify that. What does FLS offer that RealList does not? My answer to that would be a whole heck of a lot, because with FLS, they package the list up for you and do the searching and querying for you, where if you're not really experienced at searching and querying in RealList, it can take a lot of time, and you can end up ending up spending a lot of time and not getting what it was you went there for. So FLS takes out user error, and then they provide a whole lot of lists that RealList just does not have access to. What other training opportunities? What are the other training opportunities with FLC? I think that means FLS. FLS has all types of George, what all does Roddy and FLS offer with regards to training?
Yeah, I think there's, we've got some, FLS really doesn't do well, Becca does some webinars once a week or once every 2 weeks, so she'll dig into the auction and talk about probate, but, Roddy, we've got how to buy foreclosures, tax liens, short sales, the title research, I've got a mortgage assignment class, but really the mortgage assignments is talked about in FTC. So I think everything that's in the mortgage assignment is in the FTC module. So besides that, I've got some probate, bankruptcy, those courses, but I think we talk, if you use, what I would say is more one-on-one, and I know, I can sit down with you and kind of map out, make sure all of the systems and technology is correct, because I think a lot of investors fail to set that up, and then when they get a deal, it's too late, and they're going to miss out on opportunities. And I really think that all of you guys need to, if you're in town, you need to take advantage of Tim going on the road trip when he's in town. And Tim, you do that once a week, or is one day a week?
It's every Tuesday and Thursday.
Okay.
And my calendar is posted somewhere in the portal. If you're actually being a student and reading through everything, you'll find it. And at the point that you put in the effort to find it, then I'm sure you'll be ready to book the appointment. What is a VIP student program? There is not a VIP student program anymore. What do you offer for more hands-on training? The road trip, roadmap, and if you're interested, you can talk to George about his new and improved partner program, Quick Cash. If you want to buy a HomeVestors franchise, you can talk to me about that. That's rather expensive. Getting ready for your first mailer in August. That's good, Sonia. I'm glad. I hope you say you have a plan of 1,000 cards a month. I hope that you've got that plan in place as a 6-month, because then you ask, what have I seen as return? What's a realistic goal? This is something I go through a lot. So, I highly encourage you guys to listen. If you're listening to this right now, whether live or recorded, I highly encourage you to go back through and listen to the previous content that's been made available. For instance, the other coaching calls, because what you'll find is you'll find that I've answered this about every other coaching call for the last 2 months. So I'll do it again. And after this time, then I'm just going to refer everybody back to what I'm doing right now. There's a Flip That Contract student calling me on my cell phone because he's not on the coaching call. Okay, I guess he should have paid attention. All right, so month 1, 2, 3. As you've heard George and I talk about a 6-month strategy to this business. You should all be able to see my screen right now. So, to me, this is about expectations, because as you've heard me say time and time again, I like to set expectations on the conservative side, because then if you exceed expectations, everyone's happy. And I like people to be happy. And I know George does too. So
absolutely. Hey, while you're typing that, for some reason, Tim, I cannot see any of the questions. Is that something that I can see how many people we have on the call? But I'm not seeing anywhere in the view, and I know that, auto hide control panel. Yeah, now I've got it.
Yeah, I had you as a panelist, not an organizer, but now you're an organizer, so now you should have all the questions.
Okay, great. Thanks.
Anytime, buddy.
Now, some people might think this is a little disheartening to know, that expectations but again, this is what to expect, and you let's hope that you do better. So
what I'm going to do here, and I'm going to modify this a little bit more. Bye, Adam. Sorry, you guys, I had to yell to Adam. He was leaving. All right, so again, we're talking expectations here. We're not talking what I feel will happen, because I'm just a big believer that if you set your expectations based off of something that's most likely going to happen, that when you exceed those expectations, everybody's happy and everybody wins. So, in month 1, and you see I have list ABC, ABC. So, what we did here, if you were a good Flip That Contract student, which you all are, you took and you did zip code 75001, and you found 3,000 addresses that you wanted to mail to based off the criteria. So then you took list A, you divided it into 3. List A, list B, and list C. Because your budget is only to mail 1,000 pieces per month. That makes sense, George? Did I explain that correctly?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's where you got your list A, B, and C. Now, you went over here, and in month 1, you mailed list A. So you mailed 1,000 pieces. You got 0 calls. Because let's face it, this is about finding people that are likely to have equity to sell, and then you're waiting to have a trigger event. So month 1, you sent 1,000 pieces. It was just one of those months. Nobody had a trigger event. So month 2, you mail list B, and you got 1 call, but you weren't able to turn it into an appointment because maybe you had a bad attitude that day, or maybe the people were just not happy or weren't ready to set up an appointment. So again, you still have no contracts off your advertising. So month 3, you're mailing list C. So this is the first time you've mailed to list C. So you get 2 calls, but all those calls, what you have to realize, probably aren't from list C. Those calls, they may not even be from list B or C. They may all be from list A from 2 months ago, because they may have kept your your postcard. The point is, you cannot control when someone has a trigger event. All you can control is whether or not you're in front of them enough to where they remember you when they do have a trigger event. So by month 4, you should be getting a couple phone calls here or there. But I'm telling you to expect 4. So this is the second time you've sent to list A. So this is only the second time that your target customer has ever heard from you. You have to realize that. It's only the second time your target customer has ever heard from you. And now you're actually going on appointments, but you're rusty, you're new, you're anxious, you bid against someone, you didn't call and ask for partner help, and let's say you didn't get any houses. By month 5, you should be expecting, a couple calls a week, and you should be going on an appointment a week. But I'm going to say, even in this case, worst case, I'm going to tell you to just expect no contracts. Because here's the deal. If you are consistent and committed enough to get to month 6, it's only the second time that people on list C have ever heard of you or your company. I'm telling you, you should be going on appointments, and you should expect to have a contract by then. You should expect to. Now, in all reality, it'll probably happen up here, but I'm going to set your expectations. So let's talk about this, George. I mean, it's hard to tell someone to mail 1,000 pieces a month for 6 months, right? I mean, right. And not expect to make money. But let's break this down. It's 1,000 pieces at 40 cents a piece. I think the portal's cheaper than that. I don't know. I don't mail 1,000 quantity, but
yeah, it's 35.
I mean, so we'll say after tax. We'll say they're one of the ones that are impatient with investor direct mail and they use click to mail, so they pay 50 cents, whatever. Say it's $400 a month. So 400 for 6 months, you're in it for $2,400. Now, this is where I get a bit testy. There's not many businesses that people start with a 6-month advertising budget of $2,400 that expect to make it rich. And so, I mean, you go talk to someone that opened a restaurant and operated in the red for 3 years. This is about expectations. This is about consistency. If you get all the way to the past month 6 and you have not put a house under contract, you need to bring copies of your list, copies of every receipt that you have from every mailer you did, and I will give you a free 3-hour meeting with me. I'll give you a day. I'll give you a free day with me if you go through 6 months and you don't buy a house, because you're really doing something wrong. And I would imagine that you're not marketing the way you're supposed to be. I mean, that's just what I would imagine. You got anything to add on this before I take it off my screen?
No, the only thing I would add is, why don't you save that and put that 1,000 pieces, 40, kind of go back and save that, because 2 weeks from now you're going to bring this up. So you remember where you put the 1,000 and the 40 cents, and yeah, because I think this is good, and then you don't have to do it again. But no, I mean, look, the likelihood is it's not going to take 6 months, but it could. And I like what you're saying is most startup companies aren't profitable in the first 6 months. But bottom line is you could do better than this, but just look at it as this is a 6 month. It's going to cost me $2,500. And I would say probably $4,000 to $5,000 should be your first assignment fee as well.
Even if it's free, you're $600 in the black, which most businesses are not in the black after 6 months. So,
all right, there you go.
We're going to say we're going to call this expectations.
There you go. FTC expectations. All right, so Joanne, you had a question. How do I make a call? How do I make a call so the caller ID shows my Google number and not my regular number? I'm not
Joanne,
aware
that's covered inside the Google Voice tutorial.
Now, you're saying when she calls back, if she were to call me, I was a seller?
No. She's saying, how do I make a call so the caller ID shows my Google Voice number, not my regular number? Are you talking about placing a call, Joanne?
Let me see if she...
I'll answer. If you're talking about placing a call, then you have to log into Google Voice online and hit and tell Google Voice to call that number, and when you do that, it will ring your cell phone, then ring the buyer, or ring the number you told it to. Or if you're talking about the incoming call showing the Google Voice number on caller ID, that's just in the settings of Google Voice under call forwarding, and that's covered in the tutorial.
All right. For working individuals, if you work from 8 to, you got a full-time gig, how do you make time to show houses under contract that you've got under contract? And he mentioned go after hours.
Well, I mean, if it's a serious buyer, they'll meet you when you can.
Yeah. I would say, yeah, if it's a good deal, they'll usually wait. They'll work on your schedule. And if it's just a so-so deal, then they're going to be, they want you to work on their schedule. But you're the one with the good deal. So, if they can't, they're going to lose out on an opportunity. So you want to make yourself as available as possible, but at the end of the day, you're the one that has the good product.
Yeah, I mean, you're the commodity salesperson at that point. They're looking for what you are offering.
All right, when will the new FTC website launch? I would say that all of our attention right now, Chris, is focused on IDN. So, it probably won't be for another 3 to 4 to 6 months.
Yeah. Marketing question. On your target list, are you starting with one letter, then following up the cash for house postcard with the successive months? No, not at all, Ross. You need to watch the modules. I only send a letter ever to a probate person for the first month that they're on the list, and then I hit them with 2 postcards every 30 days after that, and then they fall off the list. That's all in the in one of the modules inside the portal. And then my postcards, I pull the list, I use the list for 12 months, and then I get a new list. And actually, this is my month to get my new list, and I will start that actually probably in about 14 days or so. I'm new and do not know where to start, or you're going to cover this. Okay, Gloria, welcome aboard. So that's a great thing to say. So we're going to go to portal.flipthatcontract.com and then dashboard. So let me log out just to show you what it, so when it takes you there, you want to log in. When you log in, it takes you to this dashboard. There's a lot of announcements and things here, but Gloria, you want to go to the Training Center and click on this word Training Center right here. And I would watch the kickoff webinar to start off. Well, actually, watch this kickoff webinar. I need to delete this one, George, because that's the one from a year ago. This was the one from March.
Yeah.
So you want to start here. And then after you watch this kickoff webinar, you need to go back up here to the Training Center and simply click on Module 1. Once you're into Module 1, you need to start with establishing an identity. Watch it. Do everything we tell you in that. Then watch Google Services. Do everything we tell you in that. I will tell everyone that when you have a question about one of these modules, do not send me an email. Comment on the module you have a question about. Because when you email me and say, hey, on that video, what did you mean? There's like 50 videos in here. I don't know what video you're talking about. But when you comment on this specific Google Services video and you say, Tim, at the 2-minute mark, you said something about such and such, and I don't understand it. I can watch the video, get in the exact same frame of mind as you, and then answer your question. And you notice, I mean, look, I don't answer these immediately, but I answer every single question. And B, thank you for the nice, kind comment. I love to see good comments too. But yeah, I mean, just comment on the module that you have a question about, because I mean, you look at this one. Let me hit play. This is a 23-minute video, right? So that's 23 minutes of my life that I can go into. But if you just tell me you have a question about a module 1, well, here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You know, there's 15 different videos. I got to try to figure out where the question came from. So Gloria, start at Module 1, go top to bottom, and then go into Module 2, and go top to bottom in Module 2. George, you want to take that from Carlos about a sub 2?
Yeah. So on the sub 2, is it the purchase and sale contract that you will add the verbiage subject to existing financing? No, I mean, Carlos, what you want to do is you can write up the sales price and then put the addendum on page 8 of the promulgated contract 20-11. Just put C Exhibit A. And Exhibit A is that where it says we have the right to pay off, settle, or take over all existing liens and encumbrances. So you can, write up the offer. Either, number one, you could put C Exhibit A on the sales price and don't even put a sales price, or B, go ahead and put a sales price. Let's say that you've contracted to buy the property for $180,000 and the balance is $179,000, and so write in, hey, the sales price is going to be $180,000, and then on page 8, there's above paragraph 23 on page 8. The paragraph 23 is the option period. There is a place where you put addendums, and you just put C Exhibit A. Exhibit A, not Addendum A, Exhibit A. And the Exhibit A should be on the FTC portal. So and that's where it says, it reiterates that you're going to give the homeowner $1,000 at closing, and that you have the right to pay off, take over, or pay off, settle, or take over all liens and encumbrances. All right. With the new Investor Direct that is rolling out, we would be able to see the list and do any scrubbing prior to purchasing those names.
Not prior to purchasing it. But the duplicates, there's an issue right now with the list purchase with duplicates. The duplicates will no longer be an issue. I have that guarantee from them. Is that I'm imagining that's
basically
what you
so let's just give a clarification. You know, like if Heritage Homes, if you typed in, you know, let's say he bought a list of Garland and Rowlett, your name is going to show up as an absentee owner in one of your entities several times in that list. And so what you're saying is that list will be scrubbed, and the duplicate Heritage Homes or, you know, your entity will be down to one? Is that what you mean by that, Tim?
Now, no. So what will happen is if you're buying the list and Jennifer's Properties LP owns multiple properties that fit your criteria, you will still get multiple record returns. So if JPLP owns 4 houses in Garland that met your criteria, you will end up having that owner name 4 times on the list. That's just the way the list purchases work.
Yeah.
Same
that's
thing
what I was like.
Same thing is if you buy it from FLS, you don't want the data miner to decide that you don't need every house that person owns, because that person may have updated the address with the county on one property, and if you scrub, I mean, it's 30 cents. I mean, unless someone owns 100 houses, I mean, let's face it. I mean, there's one guy that I know of that in Dallas. There's 2 guys that it would actually be a big deal that if you got duplicates with them. But I can tell you the good news is they haven't owned their houses longer than 10 years, and so you're pretty much good to go on that. You're not there. They shouldn't turn up in any of your list. But even if they own 15 houses, I mean, what is that, $4.50? I wouldn't spend that much time trying to save $4.50. Chris asked about when the monthly subscription comes into effect. Are we still able to call and email you for tips and deals since we are a previous student, or do we need to remain active paying subscription to get your help? I mean, Chris, I've never straight up told someone, hey, I can't help you because you need to pay me money. So I'm not going to tell you that's what I'm going to do. But I will tell you that as my time is less and less available, non-paying requests for helps receive less of a priority. Unless it's a deal I'm partnered on, because then I'm getting paid for it.
Right.
I'm not trying to be crass or sound stuck up or anything. It's just I wouldn't ask you to work for free, so I hope you wouldn't ask me. I don't mind helping when I have time, but let's face it, I don't have much free time as of right now. And I'm about to be a lot busier because I'm about to expand statewide. But I'll always have time for you students, especially in the portal and these bi-weekly coaching calls. You want to take the next one from Corey?
All right. Earnest money. You said to put down 3% of the sales price, but to get it under contract, they pull that money from an account. So I put down $1,000, and I had to have that in a bank. So who pays that 3%? Corey, I would say that typically I'm not going to put 3% down when it's an individual, right? I'm going to put as little as I can. I mean, honestly, you don't have to put anything down as earnest money to make it a valid contract. If you want an option period, you have to pay for that. But so you could put $100 down, Corey, Now, if you're writing an offer to a bank, that's where they, they require that you put 3% or 5%. So I guess my question to you, Corey, is who's the seller? If it's an individual, you put $100 and you put your favorite title company, which we would say, Adobe, or if Adobe's not in your neighborhood. But bottom line is that's what I would say. My first question is who's the seller? If it's a bank, they're going to require more earnest money, sometimes as much as 10%, but normally 3 to 5% will get it. But if it's an individual, just write $100. And if the seller balks, I don't know how many times the seller's balked when you put. I mean, Tim, what do you put down on yours? Do you put 1,000? You put, yeah.
All of mine always say 500, and every now and then I have someone say something about it, and I just look at them and I say, look, I mean, I'm in business to make money with my money. I'm not in business to let the title company earn interest off me putting $10,000 over there 5 times a month.
Right.
Is adding name plus and/or signs obsolete already? I heard some investors say that at various RIA meeting or seminar. What do you think? I don't bother with it, Robert. I mean, it's not required unless your right to assign is restricted, which on a normal contract it's not.
Right. On the promulgated contract, it does allow for the contract to be assigned unless it's scratched through, unless otherwise noted. So you don't have to. I mean, you can, or, what do we want to tell them? That they, yes or no? Because, I mean, we need to come up with a solid, Tim.
Well, no. I mean, I don't put it on mine. So, no, you don't need to.
All right.
Corey, I guess you're down in San Antonio.
Yeah.
Hey, Corey, I'm going to be down in San Antonio in a couple of weeks. Give me a call. I'd like to get together. Maybe you can show me around San Antonio a little bit. I want to learn that market a little bit better. Give me a call, please. So anyway, Corey, do you subscribe to that Bexar County list through Foreclosure Listing Service? Yes. Okay. So, George, that would be a question for someone with the last name Roddy.
Yeah. All right, so do I need to pay per county? I mean, really, it just depends. What is there? Comal? I mean, Bexar County has 800 postings, so I don't know. You just buy for one county. You currently have a year on the foreclosure list in Bexar County, so that's all you really need. I mean, unless you're going to different counties, you don't need to buy it. I mean, there's Comal and Guadalupe, and but those are a little bit farther away, I guess. So.
Yeah, he's saying that he wants Comal and Guadalupe.
Yeah, every county is a different list. Dad's figured out that you guys will pay per county. So, yeah, you got to buy, if you want Comal and Guadalupe, you got to pay for it.
But, George,
if you're buying three counties, though, Corey, I will say you need to talk to George Sr. or Sherry at the FLS office, and, we normally will give a discount if somebody's buying multiple counties from us.
Well, and he can call Becca and tell her that he's a FTC student.
Yeah, absolutely. Y'all, anytime you're buying a product from FLS, just say, hey, I'm an FTC student, a Flip That Contract student. Is there any kind of discounts for being a Flip That Contract student? And they do have a discount for FTC students. Now, if you've already bought it, there's no discount, but anytime.
Yeah, it's not retroactive.
Right.
But, Corey, call Rebecca at FLS and just tell her that you were on today's coaching call with George and Tim, and you decided you want a couple more counties and you want to get the FTC discount on those counties.
And Rebecca might say it costs extra, but no, I'm kidding.
She might, though, actually. Regarding direct mail, do you purge duplicate landlord mailings? That is, if a landlord is scheduled to receive 3 postcards on his 3 properties, do you only send him 1 postcard to save on marketing expense? I do it not necessarily to save on marketing expense. I do it to just save on the irritation factor if he's not interested in receiving any more most landlords don't want to receive one, much less three. So yes, when I'm doing a manual merge, and there is a module on that, I deduplicate not by name but by mailing address. If the mailing address is an exact match, I dedupe it.
All right, McKinney House we have under contract is not looking good. Owner spoke to the bank and they took him off the July foreclosure sale list. I didn't see it on the August yet either. He's not returning our phone calls and the bank hasn't been cooperative either. We have an LOA. Evidently he has decided to stay in the house. He was able to get an interest rate lowered on his loan. The urgency is gone for the moment, but he did say he really wants to move on. Now, if we can't get an amendment to the contract to extend the deadlines, this is probably a dead deal. What would you do? Yeah, I mean, it sounds like he's not motivated now. So you got to move on. You got to move on if they're not motivated. I mean, look, when people aren't motivated, it's hard to get a deal done. So for whatever reason, you can stay in contact with them and touch base, because usually bad habits are hard to break. And if he's gotten into, I don't want to sound negative, but most likely, unless it was a major reduction in the interest and the payments, he's going to still want to sell. So I'd stay in contact. Once a month, put something on your calendar to just check in, because the time for him to sell will probably come around again.
This Chris Feltus is a man after my own heart. So Chris, I guess, is like sitting there screenshotting away as we talk. And so he kind of wrote down everything that I said when I was talking about the monthly calls and expectations and everything. And if you look at that URL that I just posted into the question panel for everyone, it's this right here. And Chris, hey, great job taking down some key points here. Point is, you can't control when someone has a trigger event, but you can control how often you are in front of them. So when they have a trigger event, they call you. I mean, hey, that's a good takeaway right there. If you're consistent enough to get to month 6, only the second time people from list C have ever heard from you. So get that straight, man. Hey, you guys need to save this image that I just posted, and you guys need to post that on your desk at your office or your house. That's great, Chris. Thank you. Excellent. Sorry to interrupt, George. I just he sent that to me, and I was like, wow, all right.
I know. That's awesome. If you're spending $500 a month consistently targeting, what is the reasonable estimate on the amount of house deals you could do the first year? Yeah, so we answered that.
Well, now what he's asking is if you do it for a year.
Ah.
Oh, wait, I'm sorry. You were done with Cheryl, right?
Yeah, I was talking to Cheryl, and I deleted that one, I think. Oh, okay. Wait a minute.
So we got Robert. Robert, this whole, I don't know what investor club you went to and heard this, but I'm just telling you, vesting to be determined at the close of an escrow, if I put that in that's just too much to read. Just put your entity name and move on. You don't need to type all this. These are gimmicks that people talk about in investor clubs to sell you stupid seminars that are not based off real-world activity. Next. Chris, if you're spending $500 every month consistently targeting motivated sellers, what are the reasonable estimates on the amount of house deals you could do in your first year? Very key. So if you implemented a 12-month strategy at $500 a month, and we're going to say postcards alone, just the way I teach, for 12 months, reasonable estimate if you stayed at the $500 mark, I'd probably say 6. First year, realizing that the first 6 months you only had 1 because it took a ramp up. You had to get your branding and your routine and your program. to be reasonable, I would say 6. Takes about a month to get 6 months to get one, and then about 1 a month after that. So 6 to 7. George, is that okay with you?
Oh yeah, yeah. No, I think that's reasonable. I mean, I think that's a reasonable expectation. So the longer you're in it, the better but and then you'll start ramping up. Hopefully you'll go to 1,000 and there's a good chance that you might do more than that, but that's reasonable.
Well, I mean, you look at me. I mean, when I took some time off from advertising to fix my rental portfolio because it was a mess. And when I got back into the system, back into my system, I started out with 1,500 postcards a month, did that for 6 months. Then I went up to 3,000 a month, did that for 6 months. Then I went to 6,000 a month, did that. I've done that for 8 months now. And, I was considering going to 9,000 to 10,000 a month, but instead I decided to participate with Homevestors for the billboard advertising and all that. So, yeah, I mean, what George was saying is the point is after you get a couple under your belt and you make some money, we hope that you actually try to grow beyond a $500 a month part-time budget, because $500 a month will never get you past part-time unless you're just doing a whole bunch of driving for dollars and just out in the neighborhoods, beating the streets, calling every for sale by owner and every for rent sign there is.
All right. George, are you still working on the call guide that you were working on 2 weeks ago? Yeah, what he's talking about, Tim, is the sellers are suspects, that guide that we're going to put together for IDM. So, yeah, we're going to come out with that in 2 weeks. Chris, to answer your question.
Yes, George is coming out. No, I'm just kidding.
Right. Well, you'll sprinkle your messages in there, but yeah.
Yeah, I've never been known to be quiet.
Mm-hmm. What is the best method to finding a homeowner who has abandoned their home? I would say talk to, first thing is you need to talk to the neighbors. I know we're in a closed door society, Tim, where at least in most neighborhoods, when you drive, there's not a lot of people that'll open the doors anymore, but there are a few. And I know that if my neighbor up and left, I have my neighbor's phone number, both of my neighbor's phone numbers. So, if they up and left and you came knocking on my door, Sergio, and I'd say, basically, I don't like looking at a vacant house and I don't like mowing the lawn of a vacant house. So if you've got a solution, I'm all for helping you buy this house and fix it up and, get somebody that's going to, is going to be a good homeowner. So talk to neighbors would be number one. Leave some type of note saying, hey, I noticed it's your neighbor's house. I have a Post-it note that I hand wrote, and then I made copies of it. And when I'm driving for dollars, I put it on the two neighbors, one on the right and one on the left. And it basically is a handwritten note that says, hey, I noticed your next door neighbor's house is vacant. I'd love to buy it and fix it up. Please call me if you have any way, if you know of a way for me to contact your next door neighbor. Thanks, George. And I give him my phone number.
Hey, and on that note, I want to tell everyone that if there's anything that you think you would like us to add or create for you, go to the Ask the Expert. Let me show you. Go in here to the Ask the Expert Q&A, and go to the. Okay. Inside here. I'm about to create a new area that's going to be recommendations. So it'll look just like this. So you got conference call suggestions. If you guys want us to talk about something, you can go to conference calls. After course Q&A, once you've completed all of the modules, you can go into here. But just like this, there'll be something called suggestions. So then if Ron had posted, hey, I want a door hanger created that we can use, and then if you like that, think it would be a good idea, just hit write a reply, go to suggestion and say, hey, me too. Because then if George and I see there's 10 of you that all want one door hanger, that will help us make the program better for you all.
All right, so basically they go to after courses, or are you going to create a recommendation?
I'm going to create a recommendations.
Okay. All right, while you're doing that, I'm going to, or do you want me to
yeah, go ahead.
Wait for you to say?
Go ahead.
There is a, God, I'm trying to think of the website to do like a skip trace. Hold on, let me, I think it's called Intellius? No, Accurate. Yeah, I just remembered it. Accurate. This is a way, and it's LexisNexis, and it's called Accurate, and it's ACC. I'll put it up here, ACCURINT. So that's another way, Sergio, where they will try to find, and let me put, I don't know how to, hold on, chat. I guess I can click on the chat button.
Yeah.
And
say all entire audience.
Okay. Yeah. All right, I just sent it. Accurate.com is a place where you can do skip traces. I think it's, I think it's like $15, and it's it's kind of a last resort, Sergio, that I would recommend to you. All right, so I got a call. So Carlos asked, I got a call from an investor from one of my direct mailers. Investor direct mail. Owner wants to sell his rental home for what he owes, $74,000. Comps show the property market value is $74,000. He's willing to do a sub-2 deal. Monthly PITI is $850. Properties in great condition in a great location. Will rent for $1150. Would you recommend doing a sub-2 deal on this property? Yeah, to me, there's $300, and that's kind of for me, it's in great condition, and there's a $300 positive cash flow. I would certainly look at that, especially if I don't have to come out of pocket any money. It sounds like he's going to let you take over his loan. Carlos, are you saying that you're not going to have to come out of pocket? Because, I mean, to me, even if I came out of pocket $3,000, my investment's $3,000, I'm making $300 a month. That's a good return on my investment. So I would say yes. If it's in good shape and there's $300 in cash flow, I would say yes. There's an investor that would probably pay you at least $3,000 for that deal, Carlos, at least, because your return on your investment, if you get it where you don't have to give the seller anything, and you sell it to me, and I have to put up $3,000, I'm going to get all my money back in the first year, and so that's a good return the way I look at it.
So, yeah, exactly. So inside Ask the Expert Q&A, I've now reorganized it all, so you guys should be able to look at it. You've got Module 1 Q&A, Module 2 Q&A, goes all the way through to Module 6. After course Q&A, conference call suggestions, deal board, if you've got deals you want to talk about, links. You guys that have good recommendations for links and things like that, you can post them here. Title company Q&A, and then course recommendations, recommendations for new collateral or content. If there's something you think we missed, put it here and we'll work on it. We want you guys to be successful. We want to be able to make this better. It's one of the reasons we're going to a subscription-based system. That way this thing can evolve with us, and you can always have the latest, greatest content. We got to kind of hurry up. It's getting close to 1 o'clock. What does it mean when there's no deed date in the appraisal district? That means that they've owned the house for a very, very long time, and they should be on your radar. How does it work to partner on deals with us? There's 3 ways to partner with us. You can just have us market it for you for a fee. You can have us take over the deal and do everything, and then you get a referral fee, or we can do equal work for equal pay and split it down the middle. If you listen to the conference call from 4 weeks ago, we talked about all that in depth. Paying $10 a month for a company called eVoice, which allows me a 1-800 number and a professional voice recording to filter calls with Google Voice. Replace this for free. Yes, it would, Jay. And people that sell houses don't like to call 800 numbers. They like to call a local number because they feel like you are actually going to be local and you will understand their problems. So yes, drop the 800 number. Well, you're going to need to keep the 800 number if you've actually been advertising with it for at least 6 to 12 months, so that you don't lose any leads that are out there floating on your collateral. If doing this full time, should we consider starting at a $1,000 a month budget? Sonia, you should only consider a $1,000 a month budget if you can commit to doing it for 6 months with 0 income. Keyword, commit. If you can commit, if you have $6,000 in the bank, or you make $1,000 extra every month, you have to commit. I'm going to tell you about a student that that he and I have partnered on 4 deals in the last 3 months, and then I found out that he didn't send his postcards in June, and needless to say, we did not have a very pleasant conversation in my office 2 weeks ago. Do you handwrite the address on postcards, or is there a site, the link that does it for you? I did it by hand and was thinking there's got to be a better way. I guess you're talking about like for when you drive through a neighborhood, and if that's what you're talking about, handwriting is probably going to be the easiest way, unless you're real good at putting things into Excel for a mail merge, or if you're not looking at a mail merge, then you could hire a virtual admin to type it for you.
Well, why isn't he not just using investor direct mail?
I think it's for the one-off stuff.
Oh, okay.
Like if he's driving through a neighborhood and he sees a house.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So Carlos said, he answered, I guess you asked him a question, he said, yes, he's going to have to come out of pocket $1,000. I guess that was about that two deal.
Yeah, well, that's still okay. Because, I think that you're not going to make a ton on that one, Carlos, but I think there would be an investor that pay you 3, so you net 2. Maybe you might be able to get more, but I would say realistic is probably an investor would pay you 3.
So where do we go to pay the monthly fee? Pam, don't worry about that. We're still a month or 2 away. It'll be after we transition to the new website, and we'll make sure that everybody gets the information. And I mean, look, we're not trying to be Nazis about it. But it's just, as you see today, it's past 1 o'clock. We can't let too many people get on these calls, or we can't do the calls. And last question, Steve asked, maybe a little off topic, but do either of you have any experience with MLS Gorilla? Any good? My answer to that is no. I do not have any experience with it. Don't even know what it is. George?
Yeah. Steve, I don't know, but I'll check it out. I've never heard of it, Steve, but I'll look at it, and I guess it's for the everywhere, or is it? I don't even know. I'll look at it, and if I think it's something worth, everybody should know about, then I'll follow up next or 2 weeks, or we'll post it on the recommendation. I'll get on. I get on FTC at least once a day, as Tim knows, and post a comment.
George is a character. So I'm going to stop the recording now.